Good morning and welcome everyone in this video tutorial on topic living and non-living things. I assume that you have already performed the kickoff activity which is given inside your book on page number 80. This activity requires your observation capabilities, or I should say observation skills. What you have done in this activity is you have observed your surroundings and you have made a list of the things. For example, birds around you, animals around you, plants around you, stationary items. Now, stationary items means those items or those things which can't move, okay, which can't move from their locations by themselves, and furniture. After performing this activity and making a proper list, you should be able to answer few questions. The basic two questions are: which objects have shown similar characteristics? For example, birds. All birds or maximum birds can fly, their shape, their size, how the way they reproduce, because they all lay eggs. So these are the similar characteristics. And objects which are different from other. For example, birds are different from animals. Their eating habits, their living habits, their beaks, animals have teeth, etc. How living creatures differ from others. So the topic for this we have is characteristics of living things. There are few characteristics which are given inside your book that make a difference between basic difference between living and non-living things. These characteristics are body organization, nutrition, respiration, movement and response to stimulus, excretion, growth and development, lifespan and death, and last is reproduction. One by one we shall discuss all the points which are provided here. So the basically I should say that the characteristics of living beings, if I have to tabulate them, then what are they? Living things need food, air and water. Does your chair which is at home require any type of food, air or water? No, but you need. Living things can grow. The moment you were born, you were of only 1 pound or 2 pound. Now your weight, your size, your body is increasing. Day by daily, you are showing some growth. Plants. A farmer lay a seed inside the soil. That seed changes into a tree in a span of time. So, thus, living things show growth. Living things can move by themselves. Most of the living beings, or I should say all the animals, can move. In terms of plant, they can't move from their place, but they can show movement, like branches which grow from them, the leaves which grow from them. That is the movement shown by plants. Living things can respond to stimuli. Now, what is stimuli? Stimuli means touch. Now, if someone is touching you, you will be able to observe it. You will be able to understand that someone is touching me. So as the plants and all other animals, they all respond to stimuli. When you call them, when you touch your suppose your dog is sleeping and if you touch him, the dog will immediately respond to that touch. Living things respire. Respire means they take oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. All you example, all animals, they take oxygen in and they give out carbon dioxide from the proper ways they have. For example, those who are terrestrial or those who live on land have lungs for that. Those who live in the water, they have gills for that. Okay. And if we talk about plants, plants do photosynthesis. Plants perform photosynthesis in which they do the exact opposite, but that is they take out they give out oxygen and take carbon dioxide. But during night, now remember this thing, during night plant also take carbon or sorry oxygen, they and give out carbon dioxide. During night, when we say the plants are sleeping, at that time what plants body do is they take oxygen and give out carbon dioxide, because they also do the respiration process. Living things excrete, obviously. You urinate, animals urinate, whatever things you have eaten, they have to be taken out of your body. If kept inside body, they will be toxic for us. Similarly, plants also shed their leaves and excrete water from them. That the process is called transpiration. Living things can reproduce. They can have young ones, obviously. Birds lay eggs. Animals like us and monkeys, they give or buffaloes, they give birth to the living one. Plants, they don't give birth in the way we do, but they produce seeds so that they can have young ones. Living things have a definite lifespan. Yes. For example, a human lifespan is approximately 70 to 80 years, or 62. It depends upon the country to country. A lifespan of horse is up to 70 years. The lifespan of a dog is 15 to 16 years. So does every organism have. Okay. In terms of physical characteristics, first thing which we need to understand is body organization. All the animals, or all the living things, I should say, all the living things have some body organization. It's not about animals, it's not about plants. If they are living, they have a body organization. Now, what does this body organization mean? Body organization means their body is designed in a proper way. For example, the first uh, the first thing which was produced, or which got developed, is naturally is cells. When a group of cells collect together, they form a tissue. When multiple tissues join together or fuse together, they form organs. And when multiple organs joins together, they form organ system. And when multiple organ systems join together, they form an organism. Organism like human being. Now, taking this as an example, cells. There are huge amount of cells in our body. Okay, when cells got connected, they form tissue. For example, our muscle tissue. Okay, when different types when these tissues got connected together, they formed organ. When muscular tissues, a huge amount of muscular tissues, they got arranged or they got connected together, they formed proper veins and arteries in our body. When these organs are connected to a system, that is heart, the heart is also an organ. So when they this complete organ system joined together, they formed an organ systems. And multiple organ systems like heart, kidney, stomach, etc., when they all get joined together, they formed an organism like us or any other animal. So, according to the book, all the living things which have some specific body organization, all of them are made up of tiny units called cells. Tiny means very small. The cells are basic functional and structural unit of life. What is the definition of cell? The cells are basic functional and structural unit of life. So, whole of the function, like for example, if I say muscle tissue, so muscle tissue is made up of muscle cells. So these cells is the one which performs the basic functional and structural unit. Okay, all the cells that perform the same function are grouped together to form a tissue. I'm reading this line again. All the cells that perform the same function and are grouped together to form a tissue. That is the exact definition of tissue. The tissue that have same functions form an organ. Like example, I have given you about arteries and veins. Two or more organs make up the organ system. For example, heart, complete heart system, complete stomach system, complete kidney system, complete lung system, etc. When they are taken up together, they form an organ system. And the organ system make up an organism. Now, based on the number of cells, organisms are categorized as unicellular or multicellular. Organisms that are made up of only one cell, or I should say single cell organisms. Those organisms which are single, for example bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, virus, they are you can say single cell or unicellular. Okay, and these are also known as microorganisms. Okay, so single cell, when we are talking about single cell organism, they are categorized under microorganism, and they simply means organism which are made up of only single cell. Okay, so amoeba, paramecium, and bacteria are the examples of these. But on the other part, multicellular organisms like us, or animals, or plants, multicellular means which have a huge amount of cells, different types of cells grouped together to form something. They are known as multicellular organisms. Examples: dog, cats, humans, etc. Okay, now something is living. Every living creature required some sort of energy. Every living creature required some sort of energy. So how do they gain this energy? The energy they take or they make is from nutrition. Now, how they get nutrition? Different organisms obtain nutrition in different manner. For example, we animals, we human beings, or all other animals, they uh, eat either plants or other animals for their food to gain nutrition. But plants are autotroph. What they can do is they do the process of photosynthesis. That is, they take sunlight in the presence of carbon dioxide and water, which they convert into oxygen and food. That food gives them energy. So they are making their own food. Okay. So according to the book, all the living things need energy to work. They get this energy from the nutrients in their food. Nutrition is the sum of the processes by which a living being takes in and utilizes the food for its growth and development. Sun is the ultimate source of energy on earth. Green plants make their own food with the help of sunlight by the process of photosynthesis. Thus, they are known as autotroph. On the other hand, the animals and some non-green plants directly or indirectly depend on plants for their nutrition. These are called heterotroph. We have already studied this: autotroph and heterotroph. Autotroph, those which make their own food, and heterotroph means those which are dependent on others for their food. Okay, told you every living organism required energy. So to gain energy, they need to take the nutrition. Now what happens after they have taken the nutrition? Once they have taken the nutrition, respiration and breathing is the process which is followed. So respiration is the process through which energy is released from the food in the presence of oxygen. Generally what we say is in the presence of oxygen, food is burned inside our cells, which release energy. During this process, carbon dioxide is released. When we burn anything, carbon dioxide is released. The oxygen required for the process of respiration is obtained from the process of breathing, and the carbon dioxide is released. Both breathing and respiration occur simultaneously in our body. If we stop the breathing, respiration will stop, and hence the person will die. Because of no energy, the person will not be able to sustain. During breathing, the air rich in oxygen is inhaled through the nose. I am reading this line again. During breathing, the air rich in oxygen is inhaled through the nose. This air reaches the lungs, from where it is mixed in blood and is transported to the site of respiration. Now, our lungs are stationary, they can't move, so oxygen whichever be taken has to be transported. So which helps in transportation of oxygen is blood. Blood take the oxygen to the cells. Now whatever, suppose a cell is present in your inside your stomach. it does need energy. So it won't be possible for the cell inside the stomach to take the energy direct or nutrition and oxygen directly from the stomach. It still is dependent on blood. So what will happen is the oxygen which is inside the blood will be taken by the cell. Cell will burn the nutrition and energy will be released. But when we burn something, what is released? Carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide has to be given out. Now the carbon dioxide will be again given to the blood. Now the blood will take that carbon dioxide from the cell to the lungs, and the lungs will release it. So according to the book, the food is burned down with the help of oxygen to release energy and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is carried to the lungs through blood. This carbon dioxide is exhaled through the nose. Most of the animals and humans breathe through their nose. Fish and some other aquatic animals breathe through the gills. The frogs breathe through the lungs and their moist skin. Remember, frogs breathe through the lungs and their moist skin. Moist means wet skin. Insects such as butterfly and cockroaches breathe through holes in their bodies called spiracles. Insects such as butterfly and cockroaches breathe through the holes on their body called spiracles. Plants breathe through small holes present on their leaves called stomata. Plants breathe through small holes present in their leaves called stomata. During the process of photosynthesis, they take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen through the stomata.